Materialism is a stupid worldview, and it's stupid because it separates you from reality. It isolates you from what's true and what's real. And in this video, I'm going to be proving, using 3 examples, exactly why that's true. And so just to start off, let's just first of all define what is materialism. It's the belief or the worldview that everything that exists is made of material and can be reduced to matter. And so the only things that exist is matter and the movements or the transformations of matter. And this is a silly worldview, and we'll jump right into it with disproving it using 3 examples. And when you want to disprove a rule, and in this case, the rule is a belief system or a worldview, just like in mathematics, all you need to do is find one example that doesn't fit into that rule. For example, if somebody is believing in the materialism, if they are a materialist, then all you would have to do is just show them one example of something that exists that cannot be reduced to material. If you can find that one example of something that exists which cannot be reduced to material, then that thing cannot fit into their worldview, and so their worldview must be incomplete, or that thing doesn't exist, right? If that thing exists, how can materialism as a rational and effective worldview or philosophy be accurate? How can this be true if this thing that doesn't fit into this thing is also true? And so all I'm going to show you in this video is essentially just showing you those 3 things that don't fit into materialism, so you can pretty much instantly disprove it. And materialism is not completely incorrect. The thing that's incorrect about it is that it's incomplete, right? So that's what's incorrect about materialism. So let's just jump straight into example 1, and that's information. And where I first heard about this example was from John Lennox in an interview in a YouTube channel called Socrates in the City. Really cool interview. But so what we're going to talk about now is information. Information is the simplest and most straightforward example to disprove materialism. So let's just imagine that I'm saying these words. This is information which I'm speaking to you. But let's just make it a bit simpler, and let's just say I'm saying one particular sentence to you. One sentence that's just simple. For example, the cat sat on the mat. So that's a simple sentence. It's information, and I'm speaking it. It's verbally transmitted. Okay, now let's just say we transmit that message, that information, into binary code, 0s and 1s in a digital computer. Okay, then that is sent as an email in binary, and we print out the message on a piece of paper. So now we've got the cat sat on the mat, verbally spoken out loud. Now it's been transmitted into binary, and then we have it on a piece of paper. And then it was transmitted into Morse code. So how can we reduce this to matter, right? Let's just say, the materialists will argue, oh yeah, it can still be reduced to matter because it's the paper, it's the atoms in the paper, it's the blah, 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 right? They're gonna try and explain it this way. However, you can see that the material has changed, right? The sound waves, the digital, the components of whatever digital computer has been used to store the binary, the paper, the literal paper, and then Morse code can be on, they'll argue with Morse code. It will be like, it was on paper, or it was on a pixel on a screen, or whatever it is, right? But what's common through all these examples is the information. The information itself cannot be reduced to matter and material. And so that's one example of why materialism doesn't work and doesn't incorporate all aspects of reality and everything that does exist. The second instance we're going to look at is dreams. So when you sleep, you sometimes have dreams or nightmares. And in depth psychology, what's really happening there is the dreams and nightmares are essentially an experience of your unconscious mind. So there's 2 parts of the human mind, the conscious mind and the unconscious. Right now you're watching this video, you're in your conscious mind. The unconscious mind is everything that's not your conscious mind. So for example, all your memories, every feeling you've ever had, every thought you've had, fantasies or daydreams you might have had, maybe dreaming about the future, or some ideas, like maybe you dream about going to a farm and raising a family, or traveling the world, or these are the types of fantasies you might have. They're just a series of images that happen in your mind while you're awake. Dreams are a series of images and symbols that happen in your mind while you're asleep. Now, if you can take a dream and reduce it to material, I'll be very impressed. But essentially, you cannot reduce a dream to material as well, a dream or a nightmare. And the last one we're going to look at is ideas. So let's just say you have an opinion. You have an opinion that, this hoodie looks very good on me. I look very good in this hoodie. That's an opinion. It's similar to information where it's something that how do we reduce that opinion to matter? And, essentially you can't. It's not something that exists in the material world. It is existing in the inner world or the psyche, the world of your mind. And so these are some 3 quick examples of why materialism is incomplete and doesn't work as a worldview or a philosophy that you can have towards the world. And what I'm going to do now is just quickly rub this out, and I want to explain to you what an axiom is and why these worldviews don't work. And we'll go a bit deeper into what a worldview actually is. So what we have here is a person's belief system. So we're looking at someone's structure of their mind, someone's structure of beliefs. And so if we look at materialism, what we'll have up the top here is a fundamental or a deep belief. This is looking deeper. So we're looking at, this is the deepest level, and then these are the shallower levels. So let's just say that the belief here is that everything that exists can be reduced to material. That's our belief. That's our fundamental understanding of the world. And that's, let's just say, level 1. Okay? It's a very fundamental, it's a belief that categorizes and gives us information about every other thing in our life. We're going to approach every event, every opinion, every attitude we have, every idea, every realm of understanding. If we have this simple fundamental idea in our mind that everything can be reduced to matter or to material, then anything we experience, a dream, a love, some kind of opinion, an idea in our mind, something that's often categorized by somebody with this fundamental belief in their mind is a kind of despondency. And because there's a split in their mind and they're separated from reality, what happens is they're only seeing one side of reality in their conscious mind. The other side is unconscious. And the part which is devalued, which leads to that despondency and sadness, depression, whatever you want to call it, is the separation from their own soul, their own mind, right? Materialism leads you to the understanding and the belief that you are worthless, your mind is worthless, your soul, literally that your mind and soul doesn't even exist. So it's that's why it's damaging and causes neurosis. But let's just go back to what an axiom is. So an axiom is one of those fundamental beliefs which informs your understanding of reality and of yourself. And so let's just say, for example, that this level 1 is that everything that exists can be reduced to material. Now, level 2 is going to be, what we're going to have in level 2 is other beliefs which fit into this belief and inform us about our reality. For example, we might believe that gravity affects matter. We might believe that, atoms exist. Okay, so we're going to have these fundamental beliefs. And then, you go deeper and deeper and deeper, and you go, it informs all the facts that you have at your disposal fit into this web, this structure, this system. And it just keeps going on and on and on. So what we're looking at now is, now we just gave 3 examples of something which doesn't fit under this fundamental axiom, this big belief. And so when somebody who has a materialistic worldview comes across a fact, which, and anyone really, in any kind of axiomatic fundamental belief system, anytime you come across a fact which doesn't fit in your understanding of the world. So let's just say they come across this fact and they say, okay, how do I fit, dreams into my understanding of materialism? What will happen is, first of all, they're going to defend their worldview and their idea till their death, even when it's illogical. And what normally happens there is, when it's illogical, or even they know that it's futile. And what will always happen is, there's a sequence of words we use, yes, but, you know, hey, you did something bad. Yes, but it was because of this. Or, hey, materialism is completely wrong. Yes, in this situation, but. And so it's this yes, but. I won't explain the psychological energy economy behind that and how it all works in this video, but that's just what you're going to see in these kind of arguments where someone's defending something till their last breath, you know, and because they think somebody with any kind of worldview believes that the worldview is kind of part of their identity and reflects on them. And a lot of the time that people have this worldview is because of the recent developments in humanity. When I say recent, I mean last 100, 200 years of science, and people want to be smart, and so they listen to what they believe science is, or what the smart scientists out there have told them. And because they don't want to be stupid and they want to sound smart, they adopt this fundamental belief about reality. And so it doesn't account for all aspects of reality. And so when people are faced with some kind of fact, some event, something that doesn't fit into their fundamental axiomatic kind of structure in their mind, right? Then what happens is this begins to fall apart. They either don't look at this and they just prefer to believe that this thing that kind of doesn't, this thing that disproves their worldview, they just believe it, they just want to say it doesn't exist. They don't want to look at it, in which a lot of the cases that's what people do. Or they're forced to accept and agree that this thing does exist. It's pretty hard for somebody to tell you that dreams don't exist, that information doesn't exist, right? It's kind of hard, and they're going to look more stupid trying to tell you that that thing doesn't exist. And so by being forced to accept that this thing is true, it casts the entire structure they've built up over their life into question. And that's when you have, crises of identity, or midlife crises, sometimes people call it, or, existential crisis, because, it's such a deep axiomatic belief which is being questioned. You've gone your whole life believing this thing, and then suddenly it's put in question for you. And these axiomatic beliefs can be anything, not just necessarily a single philosophy or worldview. It might be a simple understanding of yourself or the way something works outside. And when it doesn't work exactly the way you think it's going to work, then your existing belief system and understanding of reality can be put into question. And just a really cool extra fact just on the end there is, we ask, what is a fact? You might search on Google, what are the facts about something? And a fact is literally just the best guess about what's going to continue to happen. So, let's just say it's a fact that if I throw this pen up in the air, it's going to land back down in my hand, or it's going to fall back down. If I threw this 1 billion times up in the air, every single time it'll probably come back down. Now, and that informs my understanding of reality, about gravity, about physics, etc. And then, imagine there's one time where I throw it up and it doesn't come down, or it floats in the air for a second and then comes down. Or something like that, something unexpected happens, some kind of fact which doesn't fit into my understanding of reality and the worldview that I have. When some fact outside is trying to be placed inside that structure where it doesn't fit, where it doesn't make sense, or where it calls the existing structure into question, that's when you have some kind of a problem like any materialist is going to have watching this video. So if you like this video, I'm posting new videos every single day. So hit that subscribe button so you can be up to date with what I'm posting. And if you'd like to take the next step and look deeper into your inner world and kind of the next steps of what's the path of depth psychology in terms of uncovering all that your mind is, so the conscious mind and the unconscious are just the beginning, understanding dreams, nightmares, fantasies, imagination, all the different parts of your inner world and your psyche. If you're interested in learning the path to understanding all the different parts and what the kind of start is and how you get to a level of mastery of your own mind and your own self, then I've built a free mind mastery blueprint, and you can get it in the link in the description, and also probably the pinned comments. I'll put it there as well. So yeah, that's it for this video, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.